Varnag Prime was a world of storms, acid rain, and skies filled with fire. Life there was not gentle, the ground cracked under every step, and the air itself could kill. But to the Goroth, it was home. They were born in pain, raised in war, and shaped by fire. Other species saw them as monsters. They saw themselves as champions of survival. The Goroth ruled 10 systems. No planet had ever fought them off. Wherever they landed, life surrendered. Their strength came from their world, where only the brutal survived. They called themselves Deathworlders. To them, that meant the strongest, the deadliest, the most feared. For years, no one dared challenge them. Not the soft-bodied Creel, not the fragile-minded Tharaki. The galaxy learned to stay quiet when the Goroth spoke. Peace followed fear, and fear followed power. Then, one day, a signal came through the deep void. It was old, broken, and strange. It came from a system called Sol, a forgotten place. A red-marked zone on every star map. Forbidden, dangerous, useless. The message repeated the same phrase in an unknown language. The transmission was damaged, but something in it felt aggressive, angry, alive. The High Commander of the Goroth Council, Verkarn, stared at the signal in silence. His second-in-command asked what to do. Verkarn didn't answer for a long time. Then he gave a single order: investigate. A scout vessel was sent. Fast, small, and silent, 5 elite warriors boarded the ship. They were the best of the Goroth, trained on every known weapon, every terrain, every kind of war. To them, this was a hunt, just another mission. Another weak planet to conquer or study. The ship entered the Sol system quietly. Scanners found the third planet, Earth. Readings showed oxygen-rich air, water, forests, and signs of metal structures, but no active cities, no power grids. No life signals strong enough to count. The world looked dead, but something felt wrong. The team landed near what looked like a ruined city. Nature had taken over. Trees pushed through buildings. Roads were cracked. Silence ruled everything. They stepped onto Earth for the first time. Even with suits on, the warriors felt something strange. The air was heavy, not in weight, but in memory. As if something had happened here, something violent. Inside the ruins, they found signs of war, burned vehicles, broken machines. Human-shaped skeletons, some were holding weapons. Some were reaching out to others. They moved deeper, scanning and recording. Then they found the first real clue, a wall, painted with words in English. One word was clear even to them: run. A cold silence filled the air. One warrior muttered, "Maybe they were warning each other." Another replied, "Or warning us." In a small underground shelter, they found old human devices. A screen still worked. They powered it up and played the file. It was video footage. Human soldiers. Fighting. Not just fighting, but surviving, bleeding, screaming, refusing to fall. They fought like beasts. No fear, no surrender. The Goroth team watched in silence. The humans in the video were outnumbered, injured, but they kept going, kept killing, kept moving forward. They had never seen anything like it. Then the screen went black. A final message flashed: "If you're seeing this, we're already gone. But we'll be watching." The warriors stood frozen. These humans, these so-called weaklings, were not afraid to die. They lived in war, breathed chaos. They were Deathworlders too. One of the Goroth took off his helmet, looked around, and whispered, "What if we were wrong? What if we're not the only ones?" Just then, their ship's alarms went off. Motion detected. Something was moving outside. Fast, silent. They rushed back to the surface. The trees were still. The wind was quiet. But something had been there. A single object lay on the ship's ramp. A small metal tag. It was scratched, dented, old. But one word could still be read: human. No footprints. No scent. Nothing. The Goroth were confused. Was it a warning, a message, or a challenge? Back on the ship, they reviewed the footage again. One warrior zoomed into the background. A figure had been watching them, tall, armored, hidden in the trees. Its eyes reflected light. It vanished before the video ended. They played the file again. Frame by frame, that same figure was in 3 different shots. Always watching. The commander clenched his fists. "We came to study a dead planet," he said. "But the dead are not silent." The ship lifted off. The sky above Earth darkened with storm clouds. As they left the atmosphere, the signal returned. The same message, playing on repeat. They're watching. The Gorith had always believed they were alone at the top, but they had just found a world that refused to die. And something was still there. Waiting. Asterisk. The ship flew fast and silent through the stars. Inside, the Gorith team said little. They had seen something on Earth they couldn't explain, a dead planet with signs of life. A species long thought extinct, or worse, forgotten. Commander Verkarn sat at the center of the control room. Eyes locked on the screen, he watched the human footage over and over. Every time, something new appeared, a hidden figure, a strange signal. A word in the background. Human. They were supposed to be gone. The galaxy had marked Earth as uninhabitable. For a reason. No reports, no signals, no survivors, just ruins and silence. But what the Gorith had found was not silence. It was a warning. Back on Varnag Prime, the Council demanded answers. Verkarn sent the files, images of Earth, human remains, weapons. The metal tag, the moving figure in the trees. The Council laughed at first. One said, "Old ghosts don't scare us," but Verkarn didn't laugh. He asked to return with a full team. 10 warriors, heavy weapons, drones. He wanted to go deeper. Earth was hiding something, and he needed to know what. The Council agreed. Curiosity won over pride. The second landing was different. The new team came prepared, stronger armor, more sensors. They set up camp in the ruins of what had once been a city. Tall buildings stood like broken bones, roads led to nowhere. But under the surface, they found a hidden network, bunkers, labs, old human tech. They explored slowly. Every hallway was filled with dust and memory, symbols written on the walls. Drawings of strange machines, maps of the stars. The same message kept repeating in different places. Project DEATHLESS. The Gorith scanned the word. No translation, no context, just a title. What did it mean? In one of the bunkers, they found a large steel door. It was sealed tight. Behind it, no signals came through, but the metal was warm. Almost alive, they set up tools to cut it open. While they waited, 2 scouts searched the surface. One of them, Yarek, walked near the edge of the forest. His sensors picked up movement, small, fast, not animal. He followed the signal until it stopped, then he heard a sound, breathing, close. He turned, nothing. He checked his scanner again. 1 life form detected. Distance, 6 meters. Still, he saw nothing. He raised his weapon, stepped back slowly. Then a voice came through his comms. "Behind you." He spun around, fired. The trees moved, leaves fell, no target. He ran back to camp, heart pounding. When he arrived, he said nothing, just handed the commander his scanner. The reading was still there, 1 human life form. Then the signal vanished. Commander Verkarn studied the data. This was no accident. Someone wanted to be seen, then disappear, like a test. Or a game. The steel door finally opened. Inside was a dark room, lined with screens. A single chair faced the largest screen. On it, a human skeleton. Sat upright, long dead, but its hand rested on a switch. One final action before death. The commander pressed the switch. A recording started. A human voice spoke calmly. "If you're hearing this, then you've found what's left of us. We didn't die, we changed." The video showed humans fighting in deep space. Harsh planets, alien threats, time moved fast. Decades of survival. Evolution. We left Earth not because we lost, the voice said. We left because we were ready. Another clip played. A small human child, standing in front of a huge alien beast. The child didn't run, it stared, unafraid. The voice continued. You call yourselves Deathworlders. We were born on a world that kills you slowly. We learned to fight each other before we learned peace. Our own kind nearly ended us. But we're still here. The screen went black. Then a final message appeared. We never stopped watching. The room went cold. Even the strongest Gorith felt something deep in their chest. Not fear. Not yet. But something close. Respect. The commander turned to his team. These humans had survived the worst their world could give. And now, they were out there, somewhere. Not weak. Not broken, just as silent. The team packed up and left the bunker. As they walked outside, the wind picked up, leaves blew across the ground. One of them stopped walking. Footprints. Fresh ones, leading away from the base. No sound. No signal, but someone had been there, watching, waiting. The team returned to the ship. As they lifted off, one of the warriors whispered, "Maybe they want us to find them." The commander answered, "Or maybe they're seeing how far we'll go." The stars swallowed the ship. Earth faded behind them, but the message stayed with them. We changed, and change is dangerous. The journey back to Varnag Prime was long and quiet. No one on the ship spoke much. Even the strongest warriors seemed different. What they had seen on Earth didn't leave their minds. Humans were not what the galaxy believed. They were not gone, not weak, not prey. They were something else. Commander Verkarn spent the hours watching the footage again. The child facing the alien beast, the voice that spoke without fear. The message that warned, not begged. We never stopped watching. When they arrived, the council was waiting. The team stood in front of the elders. Verkarn gave his report. He spoke of the ruins, the hidden bunker, the message, the strange figures in the woods. The signs of survival. The room stayed silent for a moment. Then one of the elders said, "There's no proof they're still alive." Another replied, "Then send someone who won't come back with stories. Send one who brings a body." The council agreed. This time, they would send an elite hunter, one who never failed. His name was Kor. He was quiet, ruthless, and proud. He had hunted beasts across the galaxy, fought wars alone. To him, the humans were just another target. Another name on a list. He took one ship, no team. Just weapons, scanners, and a mission. Track, find, capture. He landed on Earth 2 days later. Near the same ruins, he walked alone through the broken streets. Everything looked still. But he knew better. He had hunted creatures that hid under sand, that vanished in light, that changed shape to fool the eye. Humans wouldn't trick him. He searched the ruins, the bunkers, the forests. Signs were everywhere. Footprints, broken branches, scratched symbols on trees, but no people. Just the feeling of being watched. He set traps, left bait, waited in silence. Nothing. Then, one night, he woke to the sound of footsteps. Light, quick, careful. He stayed still. His helmet picked up motion outside the camp. One figure, small, fast. He activated the cameras. A shape moved between the trees, human-sized, carrying something. Not running, walking. He followed, quiet, slow. The figure led him deep into the forest. Hours passed. The trees grew thicker, the sky darker. Still, he followed. Then, the signal vanished. He stopped. No sound. No life signs, no trail. He checked the map. He was near an old building, half buried in vines. He stepped inside. The walls were covered in photos. Black and white images of humans, soldiers, scientists, children, families. Most had names written. Below. He turned a corner. More photos, but these were different. They showed humans with aliens, shaking hands, working together. And then, a sound. Behind him, he spun around, weapon ready. A human stood there, unarmed, young, calm. Kor pointed his gun. The human didn't move. Finally, the human spoke. "You found us." Kor stared. "How many are you?" The human smiled. "Slightly. Enough. Why are you hiding?" "We're not hiding. We're choosing." "Choosing what?" The human looked at the photos. "Who deserves to know we're still here?" Kor stepped closer. "You think you can judge that?" The human's eyes didn't change. "We've seen what happens when power is given to fast. We learned the hard way. We watched your kind. We studied your wars. We wanted to see if you'd come in peace." Kor lowered his weapon just a little. "And what did you see?" The human pointed to the photo of the Gorth team from before. Their faces had been captured on one of the hidden cameras. "You came armed. Ready to conquer, not ready to talk." Kor stayed quiet. The human walked past him and placed a small object in his hand. It was another tag, like the first. But this one had a new word. Friend. Then the human stepped back into the shadows. Kor ran after him. But outside, the forest was empty. No footprints. No movement. Just the tag in his hand. Back on the ship, Kor stared at the tag for a long time. He could lie to the council. Say Earth was empty. Say humans were gone. But something in him had changed. These were not weak creatures. They were smart, fast, careful. They had survived alone, by choice, not fear. He sent a short message to the council. No signs of life. Mission ended. Then he took one last look at the planet before leaving. As the ship rose into the sky, a figure stood far below, watching. Another voice played through the comms. You were never hunting us. We were testing you. The council waited for a report. Days passed, then weeks. Core's message remained short and final. No life. Mission ended. To them, it was over. Earth was quiet again. The humans were gone, but Commander Verkarn wasn't. Sure, he had seen the signs himself. He had felt something different in that place, like the ground remembered pain, and the air remembered voices. He requested one final mission, not to attack, not to search. To understand. The council refused. So he went without them. Verkarn chose a small team of thinkers, not just warriors, scientists, historians, quiet minds. He told them nothing about what Core had seen. He only said, "We're going to learn what happened on Earth. All of it." The ship returned to the blue planet once more. They landed far from the old ruins, in a new region, where the land rose into mountains and deep forests covered the ground. The place looked untouched, peaceful, but the scanners picked up signs of something buried beneath. They began digging. Old metal, rusted tech, wires, bones. Then, a sealed vault door. Deep underground, covered in vines and ash. They opened it slowly. Inside was a small room. Dust filled the air. But the walls were lined with machines still working, powered by something ancient. A screen lit up. No buttons, no code. Just a question written in human English. Are you here to learn or conquer? The team stood silent. Then, a voice played, calm, human, older this time. If you're here to take, you'll leave with nothing. If you're here to listen, you might live long enough to understand. Verkarn stepped forward. We're here to listen. The lights turned on. A new room opened beside them. This one held shelves, screens, and documents, human history, stored, protected. As if waiting for someone to come looking, the team spent days there. They read stories of war, peace, disaster, rebuilding. They saw how humans had nearly destroyed each other many times. But each time, they got back up, stronger, smarter, more dangerous. One entry stood out. Project DEATHLESS. It wasn't a weapon. Not a machine. It was a plan to survive anything. Humans had seen what was coming. Their world was breaking, so they decided to evolve, not escape. They built hidden cities, trained children in silence, created a system where only the strongest minds and hearts would lead the next generation. They didn't leave Earth because they were weak. They left because they were ready. One team member asked, "Where did they go?" No answer came, until one night. A voice came through the comms. No face, just a voice. You're not the first to ask. You won't be the last. Vo Verkarn responded. Why hide? The voice answered, we saw what happened when we showed power. The galaxy feared us. Some wanted to use us, others wanted to end us. So we disappeared. By choice. We watched, learned, waited. Another team member asked, are you still human? The voice. Pause. That depends on what human means to you. Then silence. The next morning, the room was empty. No more files, no more screens. The vault had closed itself. Locked forever, but something new had been placed outside. A small sculpture. Metal, shaped like two hands. One Goreth, one human, holding each other. A message was carved beneath it. Not all monsters come to destroy. Some come to understand. The team returned to the ship. Verkarn carried the sculpture himself. He didn't tell the council everything. Only what they needed. But deep down, he knew the truth. Humans were not just survivors of a death world. They were the ones who turned death into a lesson. And now, they were watching again. Asterisk. The galaxy was changing. Slowly, quietly. It began with whispers. In the trade ports, on mining stations, along dark space routes. Traders spoke of strange signals near the Sol system. Ships disappearing. Patrol drones returning with corrupted data. No one said it out loud, but everyone was thinking the same thing. Humans. The word returned like a ghost. A warning, a question. Some believed it was just a myth. Others believed it was worse, not a myth, but the truth on the cold world. A Velnary, The Tharaki High Mind called a secret council. The Tharaki were old, wise. They had watched empires rise and fall. Their leader stared at a large display screen, replaying the data from Earth. He spoke slowly. If the humans have survived, they may no longer be what we remember. An advisor replied. We feared them once. Should we fear them again? The High Mind gave no answer. Elsewhere, deep in a star system ruled by the Zarn, war leaders gathered. The Zarn were proud hunters, once allies of the Gorith. Their scouts had passed close to Earth's system. Too close, one ship vanished. Another returned with half its crew gone. The survivors spoke of shadows, of voices that weren't there, of machines that shut down without warning. One pilot repeated a strange message over and over. They see us. They know. The Zarn general gave a simple command. Do not return to that place. But the fear had already spread. Back on Varnic Prime, Commander Verkarn stood alone in his chamber. He held the small sculpture left by the humans. The one showing the two hands, Gorith and human, locked together. Not in war. In understanding. He thought about what he had seen. The silence, the history, the voice. He had gone to Earth to measure strength. What he found was patience and control. He knew something the others didn't. The humans were not hiding out of weakness. They were waiting, and waiting takes strength. One morning, a coded message reached him. Not from the council, not from the outer colonies. It came from Korr. The hunter, who had once claimed Earth was empty. His message was simple. I lied. I met them. They let me live. But they wanted me to see. They are not alone. Core included a data file, encrypted, hidden deep. Verkarn unlocked it carefully. It showed images of humans. But not the ones from the old Earth footage. These were different, taller, sharper, faster, trained in gravity fields, with bodies built to survive any world. Their eyes were focused, their hands steady, their movements precise. One line of text followed. Project Deathless, Stage 5. Verkarn stared at the screen, then closed the file. The humans were not extinct. They were not silent. They were evolving. A quiet alert blinked across the ship's system. A long-range signal. Origin unknown. The message played only once. We offered peace once. The galaxy chose fear. We're watching again. Across the stars, leaders began to panic. Military fleets increased. Patrols doubled. Old alliances reformed. Everyone remembered the stories of old Earth wars, of human weapons, of how they turned their own planet into a battlefield and still survived. But no one knew where they were now. The humans had erased their trail. Only one thing was clear. They had learned from the past, and they were not the same anymore. On the edge of known space, in a forgotten station, a small boy looked out at the stars. His father, a traitor, handed him a metal tag. The boy turned it in his hand. It had one word. Human. He asked, "What's this?" His father paused, a warning, then looked up at the sky, or maybe a promise. The galaxy waited in silence. Every major system had increased patrols. Warships hovered near borders. Spy satellites scanned the void. But no human ships had been seen. No fleets, no armies, just a message, "We're watching again." And that was enough to spread fear through every council chamber. On Varnic Prime, Commander Verkarn stood before the council once more. His last mission report had been brief. He had told them about the ruins, the warning, the voice. But not about Project Deathless. Not about the evolution. Now, the council demanded more. One elder asked, "Are they preparing for war?" Verkarn answered carefully. No, they are preparing for something else. What, then? To be understood. The council laughed, but the commander's expression didn't change. They are not what they were. They left behind weapons and built something better. Patience, strategy, unity. We underestimated their silence. That was our mistake. Another elder spoke sharply. So what do we do? Verkarn replied, "We listen." Across the galaxy, others were not so calm. The Creel Confederacy gathered its forces near Sector 17. Their scanners had picked up a strange structure floating in deep space. No known power source, no life signs, but it was built in human design. A black cube, motionless, silent. They sent a drone to scan it. As the drone approached, a message appeared across every screen in their command center. "You're early, but we're ready." The cube disappeared seconds later. No trace left behind. That same week, on a planet called Marinfor, a broadcast was picked up by accident. No one had tuned into it. It just started. Every device turned on by itself. Screens, Lit up. Speakers activated. The message was not a threat. It was a story. A human voice told the history of Earth, the good, the bad, the truth. It showed images of war and peace, of science and destruction, of survival against impossible odds. The voice ended with a sentence that stayed in every mind long after it faded. We were never alone. But we were always ready to be last. The broadcast reached every corner of the galaxy. Within hours, fear turned into confusion. Confusion turned into questions. Were the humans warning the galaxy or testing it? Back on Varnag Prime, Verkarn received a private message. It wasn't sent through standard systems. It came through an old, hidden channel, the kind used only by spies and ghosts. He opened it in silence. A human face appeared. Calm, gray eyes. No fear. We remember you, Commander. You came to listen, so we're offering something rare. A meeting. No ships, no weapons, just one of us. And one of you. You choose the place. Verkarn stared at the screen. His heart beat slower. The message wasn't coded as a threat. It was genuine, honest, but that was what made it even more dangerous. He replied, I accept. He chose a neutral moon. No atmosphere, no cities, just rock and time. The humans agreed. 2 days later, a single human vessel landed. It was sleek, silent, smooth like glass. From it, a human stepped out. No armor, no escort. Verkarn walked to meet him. Alone, they stood, face to face. The human extended a hand. We waited a long time for this. Verkarn didn't shake it. Why now? Because the galaxy forgot, and now it's remembering. We wanted to see who would come with open hands, and who would come with closed fists. What did you see? The human smiled. Both. Vo. Verkarn looked up at the stars. Are you planning to take control? No, we've done that before. It didn't work. Then what do you want? To stop history from repeating itself, the human placed a small device on the ground. Inside is everything we've learned since Earth fell. Not just war tactics, ideas, medicines, energy, culture, mistakes, warnings. Share it or bury it. The choice is yours. Vo. Verkarn asked one final question. Are you deathless? The human didn't answer. He turned and walked back to his ship. Before the door closed, he spoke one last time. We're not deathless. We just don't give up. The ship lifted off, quiet, light, gone in seconds. Verkarn stood alone on the moon. He picked up the device, and suddenly, the galaxy felt very small. News of the meeting spread fast, across every system. The message was clear. Humanity had returned, not with fleets or fire, but with a gift. The device left by the human contained knowledge far beyond anything seen before. Clean energy, disease, cures, faster space travel, even emotional learning programs. Every major species received a copy, but each copy came with a choice: use it freely or ignore it. No demands, no control, just the truth left in their hands. Some species embraced it. The Tharaki opened their vaults and started sharing information. The Creel, once fearful, built a center to study Earth's ideas and culture. The Marani sent an invitation to meet the humans, but others remained cautious. The Zarn rejected the device, burned it in public. Their leader declared the humans a threat, not because of war, but because of influence. He warned his people, they are not here to fight us. They are here to change us. On Varnag Prime, the council met in emergency session. Verkarn stood before them again, silent as the debate exploded around him. They argued about trust, pride, and fear. Some wanted to study the device. Others wanted to destroy it before it rewired their society. Finally, one elder asked Verkarn to speak. He stepped forward. You fear what they become, but you should fear why they had to become it. He held the device in his hand. They were forced to change. Because we pushed them to the edge. We gave them silence. So they gave it back, with discipline. Another elder snapped. They could still be lying. Verkarn answered calmly. Then they are the best liars the galaxy has ever seen. And that would make them more dangerous than any army. The chamber fell. Silent, he placed the device on the table. You wanted to know if we are still the strongest Deathworlders. We are not, because we never learned to evolve without fear. They did. That night, the council made no final decision. But the sculpture Verkarn had once brought back, the two hands, was placed in the center of the chamber. As a reminder, elsewhere, change had already begun. Small human teams appeared quietly on neutral stations. Scientists, peacekeepers, teachers, they asked for nothing. They offered help, and they listened more than they spoke. The galaxy didn't know what to do with that. They had expected fire. Instead, they got patience. One child on a distant mining colony met a human worker fixing an oxygen pump. He stared for a long time. The human smiled. "You're not scared." The boy shook his head. "I thought you were supposed to be monsters." The human shrugged. "Some people think we are. Are you?" "Not today." Back in deep space, something else began to form. Hidden at first, quiet, but growing, a network. Built by humans and other species who chose to learn, not fight. They didn't call it an alliance. Not a government, just a name, the Accord. Its goal was simple: prevent another collapse, share what they know. Stop fear before it grows. For the first time in centuries, species that had once hated each other sat in the same room. Because the humans had shown them how fast fear could become fire, and how far silence could go. But the story didn't end there. 1 year after the first meeting, a signal was picked up in Sector 88, unknown origin, deep space, hard to track. But clear. It showed a new planet, one not listed in any star maps, terraforming active. Buildings rising. Human design. They had found a new home. No name. No coordinates shared. Just one message, sent to every system: "We are not returning to rule. We are not asking to lead. We are offering to stand beside you, but choose quickly, because something worse is coming. And we don't plan to face it alone." The message ended. No answers followed. The galaxy stood still. Some believed it was a threat, others believed it was a warning. But Commander Verkarn believed something else. It was a final test, not of strength. Of trust. And this time, the galaxy had to decide.